Okay, cool. So yeah, welcome to another ACF Chat Fridays. This is our monthly office hours with the team, with the ACF team. We've got three of the ACF engineers here. We've got Phil, Anthony, and Matt, and we've got Mike from our content team. And yeah, as always, we do this every month. We do we do a blog post. We'll put the video that this will be recorded and put onto YouTube. So if you ever can't make it, you can catch up. What else? Yeah, this is a slightly different session. I'll run through the news, but then we've got our ACF Annual Survey that we ran for the third time, third year in a row that we've kind of got the results from. So I think we last year we did a session where we just go through and chat around what the results are telling us, anything interesting from them, and I'll just read through what they are. But I guess more importantly, to start off with, we've got release news. We have, oh, that's not just ACF Pro. I need to edit that. ACF 6.5 was released on the 11th of August. So I think last time we spoke, we had RC1 out to test, but 6.5 is now out in the wild, ready to update. If you haven't already, please go ahead. It is a focused release on the flexible content field, which is part of obviously ACF Pro, which is why I've probably written that. But it is 6.5 is available for the free version of ACF with some other fixes as well. But yeah, this release focuses on the flexible content field, which one of the oldest kind of field types in ACF Pro. I know there's a lot of people, and we'll probably see this represented in the survey. There's a lot of people that still build with the flexible content field. It's very much a powerful field type to build flexible layouts for clients to select layouts, create more layouts, move them around, add field data to the layouts, and those layouts are then render on the front end. So it's very much a kind of a page buildery tool, but without being a full-blown page builder. So you can give control to your clients of the things that they can change in page layouts. So just very whistle-stop tour in here. We have got the ability to rename layouts. All of these features are improvements to the UI and the user experience when you're editing a flexible content field set of layouts. So it's for your content editors. It's not in the development ACF admin screens. So now if you've got if you've got layouts that may get reused multiple times on a page by your client, your content editor, and that layout might be defined as feature grid, they can now actually rename those layouts as they use them to give them something sensible to tie that context to, oh, this is a feature grid for my primary features, or this is something that they know what they can go back and edit that section because they know exactly what that data is in that layout. We've now got the ability to disable a layout, so content editors can kind of turn off a layout without having to delete it, so they don't lose all their actual field data in that layout. And once it's disabled, it won't show on the front end. So I think we've talked about potentially it's useful for things like time-based sections on a site, or offers, or upsells where you can turn them off. But just really helpful for people to go, actually, I don't want that now. I'll draft it, disable it, and it won't appear in the front end. We've improved the UI side of things. So if you've got lots of layouts, you're editing lots of them on the page, it can become quite hard to see where you are. We've got this new focus state, which adds a light blue and a blue to the header of the layout, which gives you the ability to see exactly what you're editing right now. Because if you've got all your layouts open, there's a lot of field inputs, and it's very hard to sort of discern where the layout starts and stops. So that gives a real good focus. And then talking about if you've got all your layouts open and you really just want to close them all and maybe open one in particular, we've now added these expand all and collapse all buttons that give you that control just to shut everything, open everything, or shut everything and open one at a time. So much more control in the hands of the content editors. And what else did we do? Yeah, we did some fixes to the date and time picker, giving an option, or not fixes, but an improvement, adding an option to say always default to the current date when you're using that field, which is typically what people would use it for anyway, but you can get that now without a couple of clicks. So yeah, that is our 6.5 release, which, yeah, Mike, you've dropped that link in, that's great. I think what I'll probably end up speed running the survey. So if you have got questions that you want the engineers to help with, or we want to talk about, please drop them in the chat whilst we're going along, and we can get to them at the end. So you've got time to type out, and I won't rush everybody at the end and go Q&A, 5 minutes, type. As I said, if we get to the end of it and we want to do questions, you can always unmute as well. So yeah, moving on to the survey, I don't think there's any other 6.5 news ACF news apart from 6.5. Maybe worth mentioning that we're now working very hard on ACF 6.6, which I know we've talked about and demoed in previous Chat Fridays. So 6.6 is going to be ACF Blocks version 3. The integration and support of newer WordPress block editor features and solving the issue about iframed blocks in the editor. And if you're using blocks and you've come across this, you'll know that V3 is going to help you solve those problems. But it also introduces a better editing experience for people who are editing block field data that's in the sidebar, very narrow sidebar. We improve that. And then once we've done 6.6, we'll be moving on to 6.7, which is the big one with inline editing for ACF fields. So editing data of your block right in the preview without doing it in the sidebar or changing to an edit form. I feel like I've said that so many times, I should have it more succinctly down, but yeah. So that's the stuff that's coming in the future. But yeah, let's turn our attention to the annual survey for 2025. I can't believe we're 3 years done of doing this. That's flown by. So yeah, we've got this blog post which is available, and it is a kind of nice Mike. It's got a nice infographic at the top, so we can kind of see where things are from maybe some of the most important questions we've asked to help us understand ACF usage. Also just WordPress usage as well. Like, how are people building WordPress sites at the moment? Hybrid theme is top, as it was last year. Classic WordPress, I think some of these things have moved up a bit. Full site editing maybe has gone up a couple of points. Hybrid theme's gone up. Classic WordPress has gone down a bit, but it's still big at 47%. I think that just shows that there's still a lot of people that don't like to use the block editor, and they're probably in a very in a very kind of tried and tested method of using ACF with classic WordPress and the classic editor. I think headless went down a touch, page builders went up. We had less people take the survey this year, which I think is probably, when I've looked into other surveys in the ecosystem, like WordPress, they do their survey once a year. I don't know if they've done it this year, but I think as time goes on, number of respondents dips slightly. I think we had such a big push about it in 2023. But again, if you've taken this survey, we appreciate your time, and it is helpful for us to understand what's going on. So yeah, I think just looking through some of these actually, let's not just claim that. I think our happiness with support has gone up. Yeah, 73% of people are satisfied with a recent ACF support experience, and that's now gone up to 81%. So that's a huge increase, actually. That's really good for us to hear that our support, which is our support teams, first line support, but also any support that gets escalated will probably go to one of the engineers that you see in the chat and in the grid. So yeah, good to hear that people are having a better experience with support this year. Let's switch slightly down, 88% down to 86% of people saying that ACF is important to their development workflow. Not too concerned with that. Obviously, the smaller population of people. Blocks is still, actually, yeah, that's half of people using the block editor build blocks with ACF blocks. So that won't contain people that are in classic WordPress, but anyone who's using the block editor, they're building their custom blocks with ACF blocks. So again, that's really important number for us to hear, because again, like 6.6 is coming, 6.7 are coming. Those are big investments into making the block editor experience with ACF blocks even better. And that's something we're going to continue to do. I think last year we didn't add the WPML multilingual ACF add-on to our list of extension plugins that you can use with ACF, and it's been added to the survey this year, and it's come in second. So there's a lot of people using WPML as their multilingual support plugin and using it with the ACF add-on. But ACF Extended, Gravity Forms, and Yoast still featuring in the top 4. Most popular page builders. The only one of note here, or the only change, is that Beaver Builder has dropped out of the top 4, and WP Bakery has taken its place. The most popular field types has not changed. I mean, this feels like a bit of an obvious one, but text and text area and image, top 3. But repeater, wow, that is, out of all the other field types, like that is the 4th most used. And obviously it's a powerful feature, maybe reminding us a little bit to keep giving that some love. I know we gave repeater pagination a while back, but yeah, maybe that's something we can explore a bit more. The numbers of people and how long they've been using ACF, I think, yeah, have slightly changed as the years go on, but still in the same pattern. What was the number of people being 91% being comfortable updating to the latest ACF version is now 92%, so that's good. And this is an interesting one. So 91% of people are likely to continue to build using WordPress. 91%, high, great, good. People are using WordPress, and obviously people are using WordPress with ACF. But I think, yeah, that's down from last year. So I don't know, again, if that's just a different number of people taking the survey, or is that something that's a symptom of a wider thing in the market? AI, people building differently to how they would have done a year ago, building websites. Just go through these quickly. Yeah, looks like these are very similar to last year. 60% of people using version control. 37% have worked with WordPress multi-site. That's a little bit lower than last year. I think multi-site, the more I use WordPress and the more I see people using WordPress, multi-site becomes just so much of a specific tool for a specific site, rather than maybe in the past people would just be like, oh yeah, multi-site, great, I can use it for all my client sites. But actually, multiple WordPress sites together is not the power of multi-site. Multi-site is for educational websites where you've got different universities all using the same theme, or different companies within the same umbrella all working off the same theme. Like that's the value of multi-site. So I'm not surprised to see that drop from 40% last year, because it's that specific need. Good to see 22% of people are managing dependencies with Composer and using kind of like a more of a modern development workflow for scaffolding sites, possibly Bedrock. Local is still the firm favorite of people using tools to do local WordPress development. What was it last year? 40%, and not 40%, 44%. So up 2 points. And Mount, Docker, and Valet are still in the same positions from last year. And then the flip side of the 22% of people using Composer and 60% of people using version control is that 60% of people still deploy with FTP, which, if it works, it works. And yeah, I'd like to think we at WP Engine are definitely trying to forge ahead more into a modern development workflow with CI/CD, GitHub Actions, deployments around not doing FTP. So yeah, if you're interested in leveling up, then we've definitely got some tools and some resources on the WP Engine site around that. But yeah, WP Migrate, which is another plugin from the Delicious Brains company that came across to WP Engine 3 years ago, the second most popular way to deploy websites, which is good. And Git push on WP Engine, which is again works better with GitHub, or with version control, should I say. Where are we? Right, so do I go through all of this? What did we do last year, Mike? Is it worth going through this, or has anyone got any questions? Is this interesting, or any other questions? I think I'm going to start. We should start doing comparisons year on year, maybe, just so I don't have to flick between. But like 76% developers, yeah, more people responding to the survey are developers. Let's go find some more interesting ones.
And
lots of
one thing to
agency
note
developers.
too is that the other category in
Hmm.
describe your role, most of the people in the other category are also developers. They've just described themselves as developer slash designer, developer and business owner. I wear all hats, including development and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Which I think, like we would expect that to be a high amount of developers taking this survey. ACF is very much a developer tool. You would find it be hard pressed to find someone who was a content editor working at a company and knew exactly that it was ACF that was giving them the ability to add data to fields and then love it so much that they do a survey. So yeah, maybe that's much more of a gimme kind of or a given. But yeah, lots of people work at an agency, just under half freelancers, and then yeah, I think this feels like a we understand that that's like our target audience and the way that that splits. So how do you typically use the block editor for your sites? So building custom blocks with ACF, yeah, that's the 52% we talked about before. A smaller proportion are using WordPress native blocks, and then a much smaller proportion are using React to build custom blocks themselves. So yeah, I guess it's one of these things that we're interviewing or asking people who are ACF developers that will more than likely use ACF blocks. So that data is kind of obviously going to come out like that. But I do I do think it's indicative of people wider who don't want to get um, like stuck with building custom things with React. If they're WordPress developers, I think that even non-ACF customers or users, they'll probably go and find another thing to build them blocks rather than having to go through that pain themselves, like using generate presses, generate blocks, or cadence theme blocks, or something like that. So I think that's a really kind of key point for us to continue building ACF blocks to make it even easier to to put a layer on top of the block editor that just makes it much more developer friendly. So yeah, good to see that it's still ACF is still very important to people's workflows. We've talked about these. These are obviously some of these were highlighted above. Um, this is a new question, isn't it? We threw that in this year, Mike, about using AI, which I think it's a things like questions around version control, deployment, what sort of WordPress sites you build are much more general questions, but it gives us a flavour at least of what people are doing. And AI is undoubtedly the big thing at the moment. So this is kind of yeah a bit of an exploratory question to see what people are doing. But yeah, people are using AI to do development and write code, content creation, optimization. Smaller percentage don't use AI. Um, oh, really intrigued at how people are using security monitoring with AI. I don't know if that's a specific thing, but yeah, doesn't feel like there's any surprises to me. That kind of um, that split there. It's certainly development and code, but for performance optimization, you could 100% say to ChatGPT or Claude, like, here's my SQL query, make this more performant, or like, why is this explain? What's happening here? Tell me how to put indexes on. Yeah, so this is an interesting point that people are looking for sort of general code assist. They don't want to. Um, yeah, but I guess people don't want to see necessarily. And this is me thinking what we want to do with it within ACF around AI. How do we leverage AI to make the product better? If we do it, how do we do it? How do we tackle like user problems? Um, and I think yeah, there's obviously definitely people that are skeptical of what AI can do for them and how I mean when you speak to people some people have had bad experiences with data that are, or things that output from AI that just is wrong. So you always then take that approach for going forward with other things and having that skepticism. But what else? Yeah, I think that is the the survey. We'll do it next year. We might change up some questions, maybe try to dig in deeper to certain things. Um, if you took the survey, you'll know that there's more questions than just what we show here. There's free form text questions around, like, if you can wave a magic wand with ACF, what could we do better? Those kind of, text answers are really important for us. So again, if you've taken the survey, thank you, because those kind of answers and data we don't surface in the public readout or the public page of the survey, but we'll look at and we'll analyze and we'll try and work out if there's something kind of that's coming up again and again in terms of feature requests. This is another channel for us to take feedback so we can prioritize roadmap items, put new ideas on the backlog, kind of think about things that we are so close to the product that we are not thinking about. So yeah, it's really helpful, this survey in general, not just for the stats and the data that we present here. But I think, yeah, that's all I wanted to cover with the survey. I'm going to stop sharing now. Haven't got any questions in the chat, but as I said, we're at the back end of this readout, so we can open it up to Q&A. And please unmute if you've got a question. There's only, it's a small room, so it's not going to be fighting to talk over each other. Or, yeah, oh, brilliant, Ryan. So a couple of months ago, you previewed the visual block editor, whatever it's called. Can you show what the progress on that looks like? So I assume, Ryan, you're referring to the inline editing feature that I think Phil did a demo on, where you can, yeah, that is exactly what it is. So yeah, if you're building a custom block with ACF and you've got fields, right now the only way to edit those fields are in the sidebar, or when you're previewing what the actual output, the render template of the block is, you can turn it from preview mode to edit mode and you get a form, which is not lovely UX. But what's coming soon is the ability just to click on some text in the preview, edit it inline, change it, and that is coming. The progress on that is it's coming soon. 6.7 is what we're slating it for, and we hope that is sooner rather than later. But yeah, there's nothing more I guess I can add on that. In terms of the progress, what we probably demoed in that Chat Fridays is still what is going to be delivered, with the ability to opt in to converting your blocks to use that system. So you've got to opt in to do it. It won't just suddenly have a very different editing experience for your content editors as you update, because that would just be kind of disruptive to them. But you can opt in to do it, and you should be able to opt in to do most of the simple field types will magically already be editable, rather than you having to make changes to your render PHP template to make them editable, to tag them as editable. Although we are shipping code that you can do that specifically if you don't want to have that kind of magic, the ability to just have it turned on. So yeah, it's hard to give you timelines, but we need to do 6.6 first, because that's the sort of foundational work with ACF Blocks version 3 that builds and allows us to do the inline editing, which will be coming after. So yeah, my usual thing that I say is, please keep a lookout for when we where's my link? When we do major releases, we typically will do beta releases, we'll do release candidate releases, and those will be available in your ACF Pro account section on the Advanced Custom Fields website, and you'll be able to download the pre-release versions. But we have an email list that we will always email to say a beta's available or a release candidate's available, please go and test. So if you're not already on that, Ryan, please sign up, and you'll hear as soon as we're ready to, as soon as we've released it. Anything else? Okay, oh, sorry, you go.
I was just going to expand on that slightly, like just yeah, like Ian said, the UX and stuff that we showed is pretty much the same. It's more like we've been working on making sure that it's like really backwards compatible and solid, and trying to think of all the edge cases and things like that. So we're really trying to make sure that it's a solid release and it's ready to go, and like it works well with people's workflows. So um, the progress that we would show wouldn't be necessarily visual, like a visual difference, but under the hood, there's a lot going on to make sure that it's a solid release. So
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, we can wrap up early. I'll just give a minute warning or something. If you type in any questions, go ahead and do it now. But if not, we can wrap up so we can give some people some time back. Alrighty. Well, we will be back next month. What date is that? Because I can't believe we're now in September. So it will be Friday, the 3rd of October. Yeah, we will be, and we'll put this up on YouTube and we'll put the blog post out. So yeah, if people can catch up. But thank you very much for coming. We will see you in a month's time and have a great weekend. Thanks, everyone.